Every EV driver encountered this scenario.
This charger doesn't work.
What if I tell you can help the community improve the charging network and get something out of it? N-Charge! Share your experiences and impressions at the charging station via N-Charge. Give direct feedback, receive kilometers and stars, collect kilometers and exchange them for charging credits. Use the link in the description and get 20 kilometers for free.
Hello everyone, finally I had the chance to charge an Id.7 Pro S with the big battery. It has a 91 kWh battery, 86 kWh can be used, and it should have a better charging curve than my Id.7 with the 77 kWh battery. It will have the same limit at 500 amp that the CCS standard lets you charge, so Ionity hypercharger and all of this limits the power to 500 amp. A supercharger, for example, from Tesla can go a tiny bit to 625 amp, I think, for a few minutes, but normal CCS standard is 500 amp and that's it. And the big battery of the Id.7 of the Pro S has a higher voltage and therefore you get a better peak. But we want to see, is it even better for the whole charging curve or just for a bit? And that's why I went to Ionity, charged the car from I think 6% to 90%. We're gonna look at the charger screen that I filmed off, then we'll look at the charging curve, compare it to other cars like the Id.7, and then we see how many kilowatt hours were charged into the battery over time, and then of course range added over time, because that's the most important. And here we go, 6%, like I said, it goes up to 196 kilowatt right away, then to 200 kilowatt, and you can see the limit at 500 amp. And now we get to the peak at 205 kilowatt at around 33%, and then the limit of 500 amp and everything just goes down. And as you can see, the voltage is just higher than it was in my Id.7. I will put my Id.7 charging screen in there as well, so you can see. And now it steadily goes down, and the amazing thing is the 100 kilowatt mark, when it goes under 100 kilowatt, is at 76%, where my Id.7 it was at 64, which would be now, where here I still have 127 kilowatt. So really awesome, but steadily goes down. It's a curve that doesn't have abrupt fall downs, it's just all slightly going down. And here we come to this, what I said. There we are, 100 kilowatt at 76, 77%. At 80% we still have 94, 95 kilowatt, and this goes on. So even at 85% we have 86 kilowatt, which is awesome. So we really charged a lot into that battery, and it's an amazing charging curve. That's why we're gonna look at it now in detail. And you can see it here in the curve, goes up pretty fast to the 197 kilowatts, slowly to the 205, and then extremely slowly and stable down and down and down to the 90%. So maybe after 90% there are some steps, but what I can see here, this is an amazing curve. It's all about the time and the range where you want to leave. It's not, oh God, we cannot charge above 70% or something. It really goes down very steadily and looks amazing. But now let's compare it to other cars. I have in here the Pro S, the Id.7 Pro, ID.4 GTX, ID.4 Pro and the ID Bus. And the ID.4 Pro is the one with the lowest peak in green that you can see here, but then at around 55% it's above a lot of them, but not above the Pro S. The Pro S is above all the other cars for the whole curve. This is amazing. In blue is my Id.7. I plugged in at 10%. That's why the beginning here is missing. And as you can see, it looks like it's almost the same charging curve, just 10, 12 kilowatt more, and even here in the back it's even more, 30 kilowatt more. That's awesome. The ID.4 GTX in yellow has a great peak, but then goes down pretty fast. And ID Bus is the same. It has amazing peak here, almost 190 kilowatt, and then it goes down a bit fast where the ID.4 GTX has the peak a bit longer. But look at that. The red curve shows the Pro S is amazing. It's the best charging Volkswagen that we ever had. And this is reflected in the kilowatt hours charged over time into the car as well. Important, of course, those kilowatt hours are at the charger. This is where I get the data, and there's charging loss in there too. It's not the kilowatt hours that went into the battery. And as you can see, green, the ID.4 Pro is the lowest, and in blue this time, not in red, the ID.7 Pro S is above all of them for the whole time. In the beginning there, the ID.7 Pro, so my ID.7 and the Pro S are similar, but then after 8 minutes it had more kilowatt hours into the battery, and at the end it's even more. So it holds the power just so long, and that's why you get so many kilowatt hours into the battery. It's unbelievable. Look at that. After 30 minutes we have 73.1 kilowatt hours, where for example the Bus has 56. My ID.7 has 11 kilowatt hours less in the 30 minutes. That's just awesome. And the other ID.4s have similar as my ID.7 after 30 minutes. So this is really, really cool. But now to the most important one, it's range added over time. And again, the range added is with charging loss. It's not what's really going into the battery, but this should be the same for all of these cars. We have in blue the ID.7 Pro S, in red my ID.7 Pro, in yellow the ID.4 GTX, and in green the ID.4 Pro. And what I did, I took the kilowatt hours charged on those charging sessions and then calculated the range with the average consumption at 130 kilometers hour range test. In the ID.4 I had 210 watt hours per kilometer, GTX 224. In my ID.7 Pro, in the best conditions, it was 174 in the summer, and I know that an ID.7 Pro S will have 4.4% higher consumption. That's why 182. And when we look at this, even though the ID.7 Pro has not that amazing charging power, but it has lower consumption, up to here almost to 200 kilometers, let's say 180, it's the same, and in the beginning even higher than the Pro S. So if you only need around 200 kilometers of range in the summer, of course in the winter this is all less range because you have higher consumption, that means that a normal ID.7 is just as fine when it comes to charging. Yes, the Pro S charges better, but you have higher consumption, and therefore to get range into the car, it's the same. If you need more, then you see that the distance between those two curves goes apart pretty far. At 300 kilometers it's even more, and 400 is just, oh my god. I mean, I can see that I have 400 kilometers of range added in the Pro S after 30 minutes, and for my ID.7 I need 7.5 minutes more if you need those 400 kilometers. But it also means you charge to 90%. If in the summer or even in March when I drove a long distance trip, 200 kilometers of range added to the battery was enough for me because the consumption is just so low. It's no problem even driving at 130, 140. So I never charged above 50% and it was fine. And then 1 or 2 minutes is not a big problem. But if you need more, then the Pro S is amazing. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below, and here on YouTube there's also channel membership. And if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, I have a third YouTube channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, have a great day and take care. Bye!